Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's Walt here from Down the Block Sports, and today I want to talk about the Boston Celtics. The Celtics are below 500 at 15 and 16 after their 108 to 103 loss to the Philadelphia 76ers. I want to give a quick recap of that basketball game, but I also want to talk about a young Celtics guard who has earned more minutes in the Celtics rotation. Again, I'm Alec Walt. This is Down the Block Sports. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more of my exclusive content. Yes, the Boston Celtics lost to the Philadelphia 76ers last night, and you were probably looking at the roster and a little nervous going into this basketball game. The Celtics were down a huge chunk of their roster due to COVID-19 and injury. Because of COVID, they were without Al Horford, Jabari Parker, Josh Richardson, Broderick Thomas, Grant Williams, Juan Hernan Gomez, and Sam Hauser. Robert Williams was also out for personal reasons, while they also had some players injured but cleared to play in Jason Tatum, Romeo Langford, and Dennis Schroeder. So when you play the Philadelphia 76ers and you're without both of your starting centers, including one who has been solid in the past against Joel Embiid, in Al Horford, and you're relying on Enes Freedom in your starting lineup against the best center in basketball, things can get tough, and Joel Embiid's a major reason why the 76ers won that basketball game last night. Embiid played the most minutes he's played all season in a non-overtime game. Embiid finished last night's game with 40 minutes of playing time, 41 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists, and 4 blocks. So the superstar for the Philadelphia 76ers looked like one for the team last night in their win. Now, late in that basketball game, the Celtics did have a 2-point lead before Danny Green knocked down a huge 3-point shot to give Philadelphia the lead 99-98. Joel Embiid was the closer, knocking down some huge mid-range jumpers, intercepted Marcus Smart's Hail Mary with a couple seconds left, knocked down those foul shots, and gave the 76ers the win. The 76ers are above 500, 16 and 15. The Celtics drop below it at 15 and 16. So the Celtics through 31 games have been the definition of average, even though it's going to be tough to stop Joel Embiid without Al Horford and Robert Williams. Now, setting the excuses aside, someone had to step up for the Boston Celtics in this matchup. Their starting lineup was Dennis Schroeder, Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and Enes Freedom. So they had a majority of their starting lineup here for this matchup. Now, the only one that really struggled in the starting lineup was Dennis Schroeder. He was 3 for 10 from the field, only finished the game with 8 points. But when you looked at the Celtics bench, they were relying on 3 former first-round picks to step up and produce. Their 3 main guys off the bench, Langford, Pritchard, Nesmith. They also gave some minutes to Bruno Fernando because he became the backup center once Freedom went into the starting lineup. But you know, when you watch last night's game, the guy who stepped up and has been stepping up a lot recently for this team is Payton Pritchard. Pritchard last night finished with 14 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, had 7 points in the fourth quarter. He was a huge reason to why the Celtics were able to gain separation early in the fourth quarter, as he was knocking down some huge shots before he ended up getting pulled in the fourth quarter. Now, in my opinion, he got pulled way too early and got back into the ball game simply way too late, as he at one point was the Celtics' hottest player in the fourth quarter, and he was making those clutch shots where, I mean, I guess I get the understanding of giving him a break, but I just think Ime did a pretty poor job with how he managed. He brought Langford in late in the game. He brought Smart in late for the game, which I do understand, obviously, for defensive purposes, but while watching that basketball game, I was questioning why the hell Payton Pritchard was off the court, because you were watching that game and thinking he was one of the best guys on it. Now, it's unfortunate they lost. Again, they were down so many players due to COVID, specifically at the center position, playing the best center in basketball. Don't want to make excuses, but when your hot hand is on the court, Ime, don't take him off. I mean, at 7 of his 14 in the fourth quarter, he was carrying this team for like 5 minutes. I mean, it was just weird how that game was managed, at least for Pritchard's standpoint. This is all I want to say. I believe Payton Pritchard easily easily has earned more minutes in the Celtics rotation. His last 2 games, he's been awesome. Now, I understand COVID has given him the increased opportunity, but that doesn't mean once everyone comes back that the opportunity shouldn't get continued. Because he's still having this production while Smart and Schroeder are playing. Remember, this isn't a promotion because he's a center and the 2 starting big men are out. No, he's still getting minutes while a bunch of guards are still healthy. Now, I understand when the rotations come back, things are going to look a heck of a lot different, and Payton Pritchard honestly isn't going to average over 20 minutes per game just due to the structure of the Celtics' current roster. But against the Knicks on the 28th, 16 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. Yesterday against the 76ers, 14 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, all of which required Pritchard to come off the bench. The Celtics have had 3 young guards, Pritchard, Langford, Nesmith, and all season I've been waiting for one of them to pop and prove to me that they are worthy of a spot in this rotation. At the beginning of the season, it looked like it was almost going to be handed to Romeo Langford. Langford has been better than I expected this year, but hasn't really shown me that he's worthy of a first-round selection, which they selected just a couple years ago. You look at Aaron Nesmith, who was supposed to be that offensive spark plug this year, that potential spot-up three-point energy shooter off the bench, and have you seen it? Not really. We knew the opportunities weren't going to be there, but someone stepped up, and that's absolutely Payton Pritchard. I've been down on these 3 young guards. The Celtics invested a lot of early draft picks to add some depth in the organization. You could say they almost have too much depth after signing Schroeder and just having a ton of different dudes in this rotation. But one of them had to step up in a time of need, and that's Payton Pritchard. When the Celtics are healthy, I think he deserves more minutes in this rotation and potentially just earned himself some minutes in the 4th quarter. He's a good leader. He showed that clutch gene at Oregon. It's a complete different game. But when the Celtics needed him yesterday, he knocked down some huge shots. And Ime, I know you're not watching, but it's time that Payton Pritchard gets an increased role with the Boston Celtics. Again, they're injured. They're unhealthy. They're dealing with COVID-19 and personal issues with some of its best players. But when they're fully healthy, Payton Pritchard has absolutely earned more minutes for the Celtics rotation. What do you think of the Boston Celtics? What are your thoughts after that tough loss last night to the Philadelphia 76ers? Do you think Payton Pritchard deserves more minutes or not in this rotation? Feel free to comment your thoughts in the comment section below. Also, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Down the Block Sports for more of my exclusive content. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in, and we will see you very soon.